Hey coaches, just a light little video on brainstorming. One of the most helpful things a coach can do around decision making is to help a client come up with ideas, and that's where brainstorming can come into play. Within a coaching session, you have three main phases. You have the setting up the expectations with the agreement or the agenda, you have the creating of awareness and ideas, and then you have narrowing those options down to some sort of action or decision. Now, this can happen multiple times within a session, but brainstorming is in that middle spot. It is not a narrowing down of options, but an opening up of options. And that's really key in how we frame brainstorming to our clients. We can let them know using direct communication, hey, as you're talking here about this decision you'd like to make, or what you'd really like to do, or whatever it might be, I get the sense that it might be useful for us to come up with a lot of different ideas to help. Would you be interested in brainstorming? Okay, great. Well, here's how I facilitate the process of brainstorming. We'll each share some ideas, go back and forth a bit. We'll shoot for a certain amount. You can agree on that amount, and then we'll talk about whether or not we should keep any of these ideas. And so you're gonna let them know that's the process. Partner again with them, make sure that's good, and then go back and forth. I often like to share an idea first, and when I share an idea, I like to make sure it's not my best idea. Because for me, one of my biggest challenges as a coach is to have all the ideas. I love coming up with like problem solutions. So I have to set that aside and just throw out an idea, not what I think should happen, but just an idea that might be valuable. Then I would encourage them to come up with an idea too, and I might just contribute some more. I might share what I feel is a great idea, but I don't say it in any way that is different from any other ideas. I might also share what's clearly a silly idea to insert some humor, because the brainstorming is truly meant to be fun. It's meant to be explorative. It's meant to be creative. If the client says, you know what, that's really a dumb idea. I don't know why I said that. The coach, as part of the way you design the facilitation of the brainstorming, can say, hey, hold on, time out. Before we do any more brainstorming, I just want to remind you, no judging of the ideas, whether good or bad. We'll just keep throwing them up, and I'll keep writing them down. Okay? And again, that is directive, but when you're in the midst of a tool, as long as you've got the partnership ahead of time, that's part of the facilitation of the process. So you are helping maintain the boundaries that the client wanted to keep when they stepped into the brainstorming process. So feel free to provide feedback. Feel free to let them know, hey, let's hold off on doing too much judgment. If they have a pattern of saying, no, I really like to go to say yes or no to these, we can redesign the way we do brainstorming. But this is a good way to do it. We are opening ideas. We're throwing many up on the table. You might have 5, 10, 20 ideas that you come up with, and ideally, you will have some sort of target to hit. When you hit that target of 5 ideas, 10 ideas, whatever it might be, consider asking what might be one more or what might be 2 more. That can sometimes be helpful. Just stretch a little bit further. But now that all the ideas are on the table, the coach can then step back and say, what have you learned about your options now that you've explored these ideas? What are you noticing as you've set all these ideas on the table, or as we've set all these ideas on the table? I ask those questions really specifically because, in my opinion, we haven't gotten to narrowing yet. We've opened things up, and in that space, it's a great time for learning and transformation style questions. So consider asking 1 or 2 of those, and then facilitate, as part of the process, which of these ideas would you say are your top 3? Which would you say would make the biggest impact if you were to use it? Which of these ideas would you like to keep in mind over the next month as we look for ways to experiment going forward? Ask questions that help narrow, but don't lead towards any one direction. Again, the coach is not the one that can determine which of the ideas in the brainstorming is best. The client is. So help them narrow down, doesn't have to be to the one idea. And the coach can also help them by considering connections or potential bondings of ideas. If you were to combine 1 or 2 of these ideas, two or three of these ideas, what would be, what could you make, or what would be that extra idea if you had that combination? So there's all sorts of extra exploration that can happen as a result of brainstorming, and it can truly help decision making become more creative, more broadened, and help the clients have a better sense of what is really the best path forward, not getting locked into a single path that they might have in their mind coming into the session. Hope this is helpful. Brainstorming is a very common practice as a coach. Try it out. We're going to practice it in session. Thank you for coaching.